What's up guys, welcome to new Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. Today I am going to show you how to make an insane first-person horror game in literally a couple of minutes. It's going to be a very easy video to follow, so let's get started. Alright, so the first thing that we will need to kickstart this project will be this free asset on Fab. It is the first-person movement template version 1 and it will contain everything that we need to get it started. So a first-person movement with footsteps, an interaction system, flashlight animations, interactable doors, and a lot of more stuff that you typically have in horror games. And the best part is that it is completely free in Fab, so I will link it in the description. Go ahead and just add it into your Epic Games library. And now in your Epic Games library, you search it over here. Make sure that you refresh and restart it so you can see it over here. And click on Create Project. Then go ahead and just put in a name, select the folder, and then the Unreal Engine version. Which in my case, I'm gonna select 5.6 because it is the latest one and the one with the newest features, but that is up to you. And here it is. Let's go ahead and double click to open this up. And this is the project. So if we go ahead and hit play, we see what this plugin offers. So first of all, you can see that we have a prompt at the top left. That was pretty cool. And we have this kind of smooth movement system with a lot of camera shake and cool stuff. So we can go ahead and sprint by pressing the left shift. We can crouch with a really nice transition, and we kind of go more into this slow camera shake, which is very immersive. We have door systems, so we can go here and open this up if we interact with this interact prompts and sounds. They will open in different degrees. We have if it's locked, and we have also that we need a key, so we can pick up the key and open this up. And now yes, we go ahead and interact with it. We can also go ahead and get the nodes and read them, which is really cool. And you can see that we have different footsteps for wood, water, snow, sand, and a couple of them, which is really cool. So yeah, the crouch test is over here. We can crouch, and then if we go under it, we cannot uncrouch anymore because we would break our head. So we cannot just, not let our player do this. And then we have the flashlight test, which we need to go ahead and pick it up. And then once we have it in our inventory, we can just press F and we pop it up over here. And there we go. We can kind of explore the alleyways, and I don't know, but this is really cool. We also have like a little zoom in. We hold the right mouse button. So yeah, so this is what we have with this insane asset pack. It is amazing, and I want to have something clear, which is this is not a sponsored video or an affiliation. This is simply an asset that I found, which is completely free, which is amazing. So you guys can create a horror game with the easiest approach possible. So with that said, let's go ahead and make sure that we add a cool environment for our horror game. And for our environment, we'll be using this SciFi Interior 05. It is free on Fab. Once again, I will link it in the description. And this is the environment that we will use to create the map in our horror game. As you can see, it is really cool. Now we can go ahead and turn down the lighting even a bit more to make it a bit more spooky. But this is what we'll be using over here, which is really cool. As you can see, it's completely modular. So yeah, just add this into your Epic Games library. And now let's go into the Epic Games launcher to import this into our project. So make sure that you go ahead and refresh the Fab library, and here it is. So we can go ahead and just add this to the project. Now if it doesn't appear, just click on show all projects, and then we can select our project and then select a different version. Instead of 5.6, let's select 5.5, but don't worry because this plugin will automatically convert from 5.5 to 5.6. So just add to project, and after a couple of seconds we will have it in our new project, and we can go ahead and open up the map and start to experiment with everything that we want. Okay, so back in Unreal, as you can see, we have a new folder for the SciFi Interior. So double click on maps, and we can click on example to open this up. And this is kind of the example map that this asset pack brings with a full build environment, which is really cool, right? So we press play. We can go ahead and fly around, and I mean, it's not super big, but it's quite big. Actually, yeah, no, this is super big. This is actually pretty cool. So yeah, this is what we have over here. But first things first, we want to have our first person player in this map. So let's go to wall settings, and if you don't see wall settings, you go up into window and click on wall settings, and then for the game mode, you select the FP movement mode. If I press play, we can go ahead and now use the new movement, which is really cool. So first things first, let's go ahead and turn down the lighting in this level because it is a bit too bright for our liking and for the horror game. So what we're going to do is find the post-process volume in our level, and this defines how, you know, some post-process effects are done. And let's just scroll down to the exposure, and you can see that we have here the exposure compensation. We can just bring this down, and we can just put this to like -3, kind of like this. And if now we press play, it's literally way darker, which is quite cool. Now, to move around the level so we can see, we can just go up into here and change the lighting mode to unlit, and now we can actually move around and see a bit better. But let's go ahead and place a player start over here, right? Because right now there's no player start. So let's go into the quickly add to the play section, go to all, search for player start, which is over here, and drag it in and just move it around. Now when we press play, we start on this player start. Perfect. Now we need, of course, our flashlight because we don't see anything, but we don't have it equipped. So as you might remember, we have to pick it up first. So let's go ahead and add this pickup actor in our level. So to do this, let's go into the content browser and open up the movement folder, and we can go into the blueprints subfolder, and on here we have a lot of stuff. For example, the items and the flashlight flicker and all this stuff. So the best thing that we can always do if you have doubts about what you can use and so on is to navigate into the other project, which is under FP movement maps main level. And when you do this, you can always find the actors and simply find them. So we do Control B, here it is, and it is exactly that flashlight. So if you already have doubts about what you can use with this pack, or pretty much any pack from Fab, you can always go back to the example level that they offer and check out the asset and do Control B to see where it's on the counter browser and things like that. Okay, so let's go back to the example level, which is the one of our SciFi map, and let's find a nice spot to place our, you know, flashlight. For example, here. So let's drag it over here. Let's rotate it slightly, and now when we press play, we can essentially go into here and we can pick it up. Now we can press F, and now we have the flashlight, which is quite cool. And we can go ahead and just walk around with the flashlight, which is really nice. Now you might notice one thing, and it's that we don't have any footsteps. Why is this happening? Well, that's because this floor doesn't have any appropriate, like, you know, material tag like we do in the other map. So to add the footsteps, we just have to select the surface floor or whatever it is, go to the physical material property, which is a property, you know, meshes in Unreal, and we can add a override, and this is where we go into the stuff. So in this case, I guess it would be something like metal. So if I select this and move around, you can now hear it. Now it was a very small surface. We kind of have to do this, you know, all around. So this is kind of a, of a grind over here, but obviously there's some things that we can do, like search floor in the outliner, Control A to select all of the floors, and now go back to physics material, go here, select metal, and we should have selected pretty much all of the parts. There's other parts here like modules, so I would, you know, go and select module, and once again add the metal one, and I think we kind of have all of the surface selected. Probably we are missing also the stairs, so let's make sure that we also do it for the stairs. So stairs, Control A, and then we can go ahead and select it over here. There we go. So yeah, everything is literally perfect, which is quite cool. Nice. So with that said, now that we have the footsteps on, it is time to add some, you know, interactability and some little gameplay going on. So the best thing that we can add will be a sort of key that you have to find to open up a door. So we go back to FP movement, blueprints, and doors. We have all of the different doors that we can use, and this is the main base door blueprint, and we have some things for the key ID if it is locked and all of this stuff over here. So what we have to basically do is, you know, put this door in a certain position, put this as locked, and then assign a key ID, for example 1. And then what we can do is put a key over here and assign the same ID to the key, and that's literally it. So if we go here and I try to open the door, it is locked, but if I pick up this key, I can now unlock it and open it up. And why was that? Well, because we obviously have that key selected. So of course, as you might notice, this door doesn't really make sense, you know, with the given, you know, kind of sci-fi environment that we have. I also disabled the viewport of the post process so we can see a bit easier, but this doesn't really fit in, right? So let's go ahead and change this up. So first things first, let's go to the SciFi interior and see we have a sort of door that we can use, and well, indeed we have a door that we can use. So let's replace it. How we can do this? Well, there's a couple of ways to do this. The best way is to go here, Ctrl B, so we can find it over here, right click and create a child blueprint class, and let's call this the base door underscore SciFi. So this blueprint will have as a parent the other door, so all of the, you know, behavior will be inherited, but on this new child we can simply change the mesh. So we could go here, search for door, and we can select the other door, and that's it. But as you can see, we have to readjust this. So there's a thing that I prefer to do in these cases, and instead of changing the whole mesh that is animated and everything, what I like to do is add a new static mesh as a child, and this will be the door SciFi. Then this SciFi door will have the actual door mesh, okay? And well, I actually selected the same door. It is not this one, it is this one. And then this gives me the freedom to go ahead and actually readjust this so it fits in. And you know, we can just put this here and kind of resize it to be pretty much the same scale and position. There we go, pretty much. And then finally what I can do is go to door, go to visibility, and disable the visibility of the old door. And now we have this new door, but it is exactly the same as the other door, but we are changing the visuals of it. So this means I can delete this, I can drag my new SciFi base door, I can assign is locked and the key of 1. And now when I go here and press play, you will see that I can now open this up, but I can go get the key, open this up, and everything is perfect, just like in the other door, but with this SciFi door, if this makes sense, which is quite cool. So obviously we have to make this door a bit more, you know, guarded by a door frame or something, because right now we can just go past this door. So let's go to the SciFi interior, search door frame. Well, there's this big doors that we can use. Yeah, let's use this. Okay, perfect. So now we have kind of this entrance with the key and everything like that. We also have to go ahead and change up the character, because right now the character is simply the, you know, mannequin. And I mean, it looks pretty cool, but we can improve this up and, you know, see how we can change this. And for the character, I'm gonna be using this survival character, which is free on Fab. I already used it in another tutorial, which if you want to check, go ahead. But let's add this into the Epic Games library, and then let's go back to the Epic Games launcher. And then over here is click to add to project, click on show all projects, select this, change it to 5.5 or whatever the last compatible version is, and add to project. And like, once again, don't worry, it will automatically convert and everything like that. And now we go back to Unreal, we have a new folder with survival character, which is this one over here, and it looks pretty cool. It's loading all the shaders. There we go. So how can we go ahead and add this character to our environment over here? Well, more than environment, just replace it in general with our first person character. So to change this up, let's go to the FPS movement, find the player blueprint over here, which is this one, and this is the actual player blueprint. We go to the viewport, here it is. So we go here to the mesh, right, and find the new survival character and put this in. It will kind of merge in, but there is a problem. Okay, it will look like good from outside, kind of, except for our head, and we can like go here and do stuff, but once we take this, as you can see, the hand is completely off and everything like that. So there's another thing that we have to do instead of directly change this. So let's Ctrl Z, and what I'm going to do instead is select the first person mesh, add a new skeleton mesh as a child, and just put this as the, you know, actual character. This character will have then the survival character, but with a twist, because I'm gonna go to the construction script here, double click here, and we can just get the first person mesh and do a set leader pose component. Now the first person mesh will be the new leader pose component, but for the target, this will be the new character that we plug in. If we do this and compile, you'll see that the player will start to do what happened before, which is to copy the animations, but it will do it accurately. So if we go here and get this up, you can see that now the hands are actually on the flashlight perfectly. And you can see there's a bit of a bug on the fingers. What is happening? Well, that is because the other mesh is still visible, the mannequin. So select this, go to visibility, disable this, but go to the drop down and select always stick and refresh bones. And now this will be good. But we have another issue, which is that, as you can see, the character has a big head and we cannot go over it. So we have to do a quick fix for this. So for example, if you were by your own and you wanted to solve this problem, but you didn't want to go to YouTube and start to go crazy and find tutorials, you can simply use my brand new Gorka Games Copilot. This is an intelligent AI trained on a lot of my tutorials and the official Unreal Engine documentation in forums, so that you can actually go ahead and get a step-by-step guide on how to do something in Unreal. It's literally ChatGPT trained on Unreal Engine. So what we can do is go over here and ask something like, in first person, my character's body goes through the camera, like the head, etc. How can I hide the head and some body parts when I'm in first person? And the AI will start to search in its database and see what we have to do. And we have a couple of approaches, like for example saying that, you know, we can disable the whole visibility, but we also want to only hide parts, as you can see, like it's saying over here. So we can go to begin play, get mesh, hide both my name, and just execute this, which is what we want. So let's go ahead and try to do this. So I'm gonna go to the event graph and find my begin play, which is over here. And right after, what we have to do, as you can see over here, is find the mesh. Remember that is the character one. And then we have to do hide bone by name. Okay, perfect. And then we need to find the bone name. Well, in this case, to find the bone name, we can just double click on the mesh asset, and then we can find them over here. So I want to do maybe the head. Okay, it's literally head. So we can copy this over here and paste it in. And then we have the part over here, which is PBO known. It says over here. This is a character that's copying the animations from this one on the construction script. So we have to do it with this character instead. It's kind of a weird thing, but yes. And now as you can see, it's literally perfect. So there we go. We don't have the head. Okay, so just remember to plug in the other character, which is a first-person mesh instead of this one, and that's it. So as you can see, literally the ChatGPT of Gorky Games, well, came up with the conclusion. So how can you access this ChatGPT? Well, you can do it through my Unreal Club, and with my Unreal Club, you don't only have access to this brand new Copilot, but you also have access to hundreds of private files from all my tutorials, a lot of private meetings, resources, and everything. So once again, I will link it in the description just in case you want to check this out. Perfect, we nearly got this. We just need to add a bit more of a twist over here. So maybe let's add some notes that you can pick up. So we can go back into the FPS bookman here, blueprints, and we have some things like nodes. So we can get the base node and we can put in some data. Imagine that you had a, your node created over here, and this is what you would put. This is the page, right? So this is how you can create the nodes, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, imagine we do this, right? And this what we end up with, which is quite cool. But I always want to add one last thing into the horror games, and it's like a little loop sound in the background. So over here, let's just add a new folder, which will be like audio, and let me import one sound. Here it is, horror loop. Let me go ahead and make sure that it's looping, and now I can just drag this into the gameplay, put the volume to be a bit, shorter, and I get this effect, which is quite cool. Now you see you can make it even darker if you want, which I'm actually gonna do. So to make it darker, just go here, make sure to enable the post process so we can visualize it. And over here we can put like -5 instead of -3. And that's it. That's how you can start your horror games. And if you want to learn how to make even more stuff like enemy AIs that will chase you down and everything, go ahead and check out my full horror game course with a link in the description where you will literally learn how to do everything. So that's it, guys. If you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to my channel. I have over 800 tutorials, so just check them out, and obviously check out my Unreal Club for everything. Now yes, with all I said, bye bye.